longer being here, physically here, is no longer overpowering.
I made it to my mother's deathbed. She was dying, and she was due to die, you know, maybe 2 days before I got there, but apparently they said she was holding on and waiting for me. And I went home right about 2 o'clock. I remember having a very, very beautiful dream. And the color of the dream, if I can think of one color, was actually, it was this, the color of this shirt is, turquoise, blue-green dream. I was very, very far underwater in the dream, and I could breathe very easily underwater, no problem. So I could see light, and it was just beautiful scape around me, this just seascape. And I saw 2 very large dolphins coming to circle me, and they looked huge. They looked twice my size. I was a little nervous when I saw them, except that one of them started to speak to me in a woman's voice. And this was clearly my mother. And she was saying to me, you know, as long as you are somewhere near water, working somewhere on something to do with water, I'll be nearby, and you don't have to worry about me. You can rest easy. You're in good shape, and yeah, I'm going to be nearby to those places. And she was still saying more things to me, and the phone was ringing. So I couldn't hear those things that she was telling me. More the dolphin, you know. And when we answered the phone, it was the news from the hospital that she had died, just that minute. And I mean, for me, that is a very real metaphor that, you know, telling me that my mother is fine and that there's a place outside of time and outside of the real things that we have in our life, that my mother and I can communicate. And for the 7 years since then, I've had dreams of her. They continue to occur. They're very colorful. There's some in which there are lights spinning around, and she's talking to me and telling me very specific instructions of what to do, because I'm having some difficulty. In those dreams, I feel like I have a powerful connection to my mother, in spite of the death has not taken away. And this is something that I think in India people feel commonly when they have a close relative. But I have an interaction with it that has grown stronger, and my work has taken a lot of momentum from her.
With this installation, Grey Life Zone, I try in a more conscious way to find out of my relation to death, and that means to life. I don't feel I have the right respect for death. That means that I don't really appreciate life. I believe in the yoga philosophy, what I've been doing since I was quite young. At that time I was looking for a philosophy or a religion that could give me the answer on the big question I have in life. What is life about? And what is the meaning by life? So through my yoga philosophy on the spiritual level and my socialistic, political believing on the social level, I have tried to understand life and live after that. So I believe in reincarnation, and that means that I believe in that I had to be reborn many times, thousands of times, before I reach the point, the highest point in yoga, it means that I get one with the universe. So, if I looked on my life out from that perspective, my whole life is just like a little step on the way. So I feel death is as natural as the birth. When I was a child, I was very lonely. I didn't get the love and security that I need. And my feelings and soul got hurt very badly many times. Though I became a very introvert child, I closed down my feelings and let my mind take over the control of my life for not to be hurt again. So when I look at life, I can see that my whole life has been like a big battle since I was a young, aggressive, frustrated rebel. As an active political and spiritual person, I have been fighting for getting the right direction, for to get things true that I believe in. Like a human warrior, going from battle to battle. But I never really think that I allowed myself to feel if I was going in the right direction. And now I'm coming to a point in my life where I want to find a balance between my mind and my soul, because I know that's the only way where I can feel life, feel the world, and be a more whole human being. But I know that's a very hard thing suddenly to do, because I have to change my attitude to life so much before I can reach life.
My most intimate experience with death was with the death of my father, who died when I was 6 years old of a heart attack. And I was also the one that found his body. I also remember walking in and seeing him lying in the kitchen on the floor. I remember thinking that he was playing, that he was joking, and I remember trying to sort of move him. I remember the position that he was lying in. I remember thinking he looked like a ballerina because his hands were up above his head. I think I'd sort of black out when the thought starts to dawn on me that he wasn't just joking, that there was something different there. There was something gone. And there's a space of time after that. I guess it's several hours of time that I don't remember at all. And the next image that I do remember is I'm lying on the couch in the living room facing our front door, and I could see the silhouette of my mother, just this shape standing in the doorway as she gets off of work and comes home. And I remember telling her that I think he was dead, that I thought he was dead. And at that point, everything's a blank. I was very, very close to my father. I think he had always wanted a girl and had gotten one. And so there was a great deal of intimacy and love and affection between us. I don't think I ever really grieved his death. My mother suffered off and on from depression. And so I think that in a way I became sort of conscious of her fragility and the possibility of even losing her. My mother never really showed her emotion to me about it. I don't remember seeing her grieve the finality of that loss and realizing that I can't replace that presence in my life. But for many, many years, I would be, disturbed or frightened by certain images, certain smells, certain qualities of light would remind me of things. And I think the reason that I became an artist, one of the reasons was an effort to sort of put together the pieces of this puzzle. One of them was that, but one of them was also another way to shut off from the world, another way to enter sort of a private space that was mine alone and that I could completely control. So I don't know, I think that, people become artists for healthy reasons and for unhealthy reasons at the same time. And sometimes, re-experiencing those things is not really a way of working through them or getting past them. It's more of a way of sort of staying caught in that space and time and almost preserving it in a weird way.
Just to talk about my relationship to death is considering my first experience with it, which was the loss of my dog. And my dog had been put to sleep by a veterinarian hospital that we had left the dog with when we'd gone on vacation. It created such deep anger in me as a 5-year-old child that I really wanted to kill. My father died when I was 16, and the anger welled up in me at that point too. I was extremely angry young man that I couldn't even really process the death of my father in a full way, and until the death of my best friend, which was 4 years later, in a car accident in which I was driving. This friend was killed in the back seat. Being in San Francisco in the mid-'80s when I arrived was participating sexually in a climate of terror. There was concern, and everywhere was pointing to AIDS epidemic and concern in all the communities, particularly in the gay community. Was it very, very politicized, active, open, aggressive campaign to make it visible and very understandably. And so I think that for those of us in our early adulthood, sex and death were even more interrelated and really braided in together. That fear translated into my own terror of being infected by the virus and of having something in me that was my death. I had a test, I was negative. I was unable to really fully believe that the results were right. So the only way that I could actually deal with my own terror and these results was to very selfishly go into hospice work as a volunteer and spend a couple days a week, which I did for about 15, 16 months altogether. And in that time, just spending time with people who were really, really sick and actively dying with AIDS and with cancer, and their stories and sharing their memories and being there, the long walks and the hours spent holding hands and listening to them and getting glasses and shopping for food and smoking marijuana
So I have had many relatives die in the last 5 years and many friends. I think 5 or 6 relatives. They were mostly old age, natural causes. My friends, however, did not die of old age and natural causes. 2 of my friends, and one was a former lover, committed suicide. One friend died on a spur-of-the-moment vacation with a new